Hey everybody. This week, your challenge is going to focus on theme and celebration, right? It is the week of our annual celebration of art. We're going to have a website that drops live on Wednesday. And in order to celebrate that, I want you to think about if you were to make a gallery exhibit or a museum exhibit, what kind of works would you put in it, all right? That's where the theme comes in, right? Because I'd like you to create at least 3 artworks this week that have a common theme, a connection between each one. I'm going to show you some examples of that. The theme is up to you. And I'm also going to show you a couple ways that you can make a mini art exhibit, because the artworks that I'd like you to create this week are going to be small, all right? So we can talk about scale like we did in the sculpture project from a couple weeks ago. So I want you to think about theme and celebration. And I'm going to share a couple images with you right now so you can see different ways to approach it. And then it's going to be your turn. So I can't wait to see what mini art exhibits you all create. And remember, as always, please make sure you share your artwork correctly to Google Classroom or Seesaw. Oh my goodness. The birds are so loud this morning. All right, check out the video. The first thing that you want to do is gather the materials that you think you're going to be using. So I have a sheet of regular white paper. I had some yellow and light brown paper. Color choices are up to you, but you're going to use, I would use white paper probably to do your artwork on if you're going to choose 2D work. And the other colors I could use for a picture frame, or I could use for a gallery wall setting. So you want to get the papers that you're going to need. If you need scissors, you're going to go ahead and get a pair of scissors too, and something to stick them together, whether it be tape or glue, or a glue stick. After you have your paper materials, what I would do is choose one to create a gallery setting, and we're going to create kind of like a corner of a gallery. So you take that material and fold it in half once, and then open it up and fold it the other way in half, so you're quartering the paper. Then go ahead and cut to the center on one of the folds. I'm using the horizontal side. It gives me a little bit more wall space from left to right to work with. But you can also go vertically if you'd like a more narrow space. After you make that cut, then you're going to go ahead and stand it up like this and slide one of the cut edges, planes, under the other one to create the corner space. And then you can tape it down, you can glue the edges down, and if you wanted to trim kind of like that corner right there so it's an even square, you can do that. I'm not too concerned about it though. And the reason I encourage you to kind of make the gallery setting first, if you're going to choose the paper method, is because then that way it gives you a sense of the size that you need to create your mini artworks. You see how much wall space you have. So I know mine are going to need to be pretty small since I use that regular piece of paper. Each of these practice boxes, sketch boxes, is about like 1.5 inches by 3 inches at most. You can make them bigger, but in order to fit 3 on that sheet of paper, I'm going to have to work kind of small. As you are prepping your gallery setting, your materials and the boxes, hopefully you've been thinking about what your theme is going to be, right? How are you going to create 3 artworks that are similar but not totally the same, right? So if you need to do sketches before you get to this point, that's okay. If you need to brainstorm, write out a list of possible topics, you can do that today too. So you can see here I created 3 landscapes, right? Kind of like a field landscape, a desert, kind of rugged canyon landscape, and then a suburban landscape, right? So that's one way of tying my artworks together. In terms of adding color or value or how you handle finishing your drawings, if you choose drawings, that's entirely up to you. If you just want to add color and not trace lines like I have right here, I wanted my contour lines, I wanted the lines in the drawing to stand out a little bit, and so I traced them over with a pen. And then you can see in the sky, I also kind of broke that up as well, and I went a little softer there, so it didn't compete too much with the foreground. But again, how you handle it is up to you. This is just one approach. Then for your gallery pieces, if you'd like to add a frame, you can draw the frame around your boxes, right? So that way they're all in one piece. Or if you have a different piece of paper, a different color that you'd like to build your frames on, you can do that too. What you would have to do is cut out your artworks, then glue them onto that new piece of paper, and then I would draw the frames around those. So here are my completed mini works for my art museum. So you can see how I pressed hard, medium, and soft. I added a little black in the foreground there in order to make my landscapes look a little 3D. And you can see how I added color to the frames too. Kind of made them like a fancy gold wood frame there. But again, the frame design, if you choose to add them, is totally up to you. What kind of frame would you like to see artworks shared in your museum? Then you're going to go ahead and cut those out. And if you are using the paper, the folded paper exhibition walls, you can put a little loop of tape on the back of your artworks and then add it to the walls. This also works if you take it outside and you tape it to a surface outside, so it has a different looking kind of background. I'll give you an example of that in a sec. And again, like the sculpture and scale project that we did a couple weeks ago, I encourage you to add some sort of character to your scene to emphasize how big it is. So my son's Halo minifigure is visiting the Mr. Massey landscape exhibit at the Brown Paper Museum. And when you add the character to the scene, think about, shooting it from different angles. Think about your point of view. You may want to get kind of close to their eye level to make the photograph look more realistic. If you have extra stuff in the photograph, you can always crop it or have a family member help you edit and kind of crop the photograph so you don't have the extra background stuff in it. The next few photographs are a couple other themed exhibits that I put together for my paper mini art exhibit. So this one I focused on chairs. So I have a stool, I have just a regular wooden chair, and then I have a cushy, comfy chair. And again, with this scene, trying out different compositions with the figures too, trying to come up with an interesting photograph of the characters and the setting. One final example for you, so you can see how these mini exhibits, kind of like abstracted flowers, I took it outside. So I went to our back step, taped them to the concrete, and then added the characters. And again, experimenting with different angles to take the photographs. And when you do this artwork, I encourage you to send multiple photographs, and you can also mention when you submit your artwork why you chose this particular theme for your exhibition. So that is it for the 2D method. If you want to, create a drawing of 3 artworks and add a character to the drawing, that is a completely two-dimensional way that you can go. If you don't want to build something or add characters to it that are real, you can make the whole thing a drawing with the illusion of setting and museum goer with your themed exhibition. All right, and that's it. So think of a theme for your exhibit, gather your materials, create your artwork and characters, and photograph it with a unique and interesting point of view to capture the character and your themed exhibit. And make sure that you submit your work correctly to Seesaw or Google Classroom. Good luck. and shine bright.